us. The Gemara tells us that Eliyahu Hanavi, Elijah the prophet, was once visiting Rabbi Yeshua. And this is after many days of not visiting him. Rabbi Yeshua prayed that Eliyahu Hanavi would once again visit him, and Eliyahu Hanavi came. They were learning together. And Rabbi Yeshua asked Eliyahu Hanavi, is it possible that you could maybe give me a tour? I know you go on a lot of expeditions, you go on a lot of journeys. Maybe you could take me with you. I want to see what you see. So Eliyahu Hanavi said, I will take you on one condition, that you cannot ask any questions throughout the entire trip. So Rabbi Yeshua agreed. He said, it's my honor to travel with you, and I won't ask any questions. So they made a stop by a very poor people's home. The house was dilapidated. It was broken. They live a very simple life, and they walk in and they ask the couple if they could greet them. I mean, they could take care of them. They could give them a place to stay. And they were more than happy. They said, of course, we would love to. And they gave them a place to sleep. They even gave up their own beds. And they went to sleep in the barn with their one and only cow. They only had one cow, and this is their sustenance. And the next morning, Eliyahu Hanavi got up early in the morning. He tapped Rabbi Yeshua on the shoulder. Rabbi Yeshua woke up, and he says, no questions. And he says, no questions. And Eliyahu began to pray. He said, come with me. He comes out, and they see the cow outside. The one cow that was sustaining them, that gave them the milk, that gave them the sustenance. And they see this cow, and Rabbi Yeshua was watching what Eliyahu Hanavi is going to do, and he says, God, make it that this cow should drop dead. And in front of their very eyes, all of a sudden, the cow's eye starts bulging out, and he just falls and drops dead to the ground. And Rabbi Yeshua didn't understand. They did so much good for us. Why would you make it that their only sustenance should die? Why would you take away their cow? But he didn't ask any questions as he promised. So they moved on to the next town. And they moved on to the next town. They see this beautiful mansion. They knock on the door. And they approach the door, and comes out this very wealthy man with a lot of servants. And they said, excuse me, but can you give us a place to stay? So the rich man says, yes, he tells the servants, take them to this room, and they bring them to the room, and there was no beds there, there was no food, there was no water, he just left them there. And they didn't understand what kind of hospitality is this. They went to sleep on the floor. They might as well would have slept outside in that case. And on the way out, they noticed that this man has a broken wall, he has a crack in the wall. And Eliyahu Hanavi began to pray, Hashem, make it that his wall should be fixed. And you see the bricks piling up on top of each other, and the wall fixes itself. Rabbi Yeshua says, I don't understand. This man was so not nice to us. He's lacking hospitality, this attribute of kindness. And he put us in some random room, and this is the reward he gets. He doesn't have to go through the frustration or the trouble of having to fix his own wall, that you pray to God that God should fix his wall. So they move on to the next town, and they see a synagogue. Beautiful, beautiful synagogue. They walk inside the synagogue. They see a beautiful aron in the front of the synagogue. And they ask people for a place to stay. Nobody offers a place to stay. The whole place was just so greedy. Nobody wanted to offer a place to stay. Eliyahu Hanavi comes out of the shul, looks at the shul, and starts praying, God, please make it that every single person within the synagogue should rise to power in the government. They should get some sort of lofty position in the government. He says, I don't get this. People were so not nice to us, and yet you prayed for their behalf that they should get high positions. Then they move on to the next town. They saw a synagogue, but it wasn't as nice. It wasn't as beautiful. They walked in, and they see very simple people, and everybody greeted them so generously, and everyone offered a place to stay. They walked out, and Eliyahu Hanavi says, please God, make it that only one congregant from this entire synagogue should have a power in the government in this town. So now Rabbi Yeshua couldn't take it anymore. He said, I don't understand. We came to the first place, they were so good to us, you prayed for their cow to die. We came to the second place, our second stop, the guy was rich, he was wealthy, he didn't even want to offer us a nice room, and you prayed that he should fix his wall. The third place, the people weren't generous at all to us, and yet you prayed for them to have a lofty position in the government. And by the fourth place where they did so much good for us, and they wanted to help us, you prayed only one person should get a high position. He said, let me explain, but after this you have to go home. And he said, I can't take it anymore. I'm hungry, I'm tired, I just want to go home, and I want to hear an answer. I want an answer. So he says, okay, I'll give you the answer. Well, the people that we came to, the first people, they were very nice people. The problem was that day that we came to them, the wife was supposed to die. Her life was over. And I saw it coming, so I came to this world so they could perform some sort of hospitality for me, so they could have some sort of zuhut, a merit. They generated a merit for themselves, and as a result, instead of taking away the life of the wife, I prayed that they should take away the life of the cow. And don't worry, Hashem is going to make sure they'll be okay. Hashem is going to provide for them anyways. So Yeshua said, so it was really a blessing in disguise. In the end, we took away the life of the cow instead of taking away the life of the wife. He says, yes. And what about the second place? He says, the second house, the man was a miserable person. He was very mean, he's very cruel. And you're right, maybe he doesn't deserve that his wall should get fixed. But you know what lied behind that wall? Treasure. We didn't want him to get access to that treasure, so I prayed that he shouldn't end up fixing the wall, because if he would have found all the treasure. So really what seemed so good was really bad. And then he moved on to the next town. He said, over there the congregants were so mean to us. They didn't want to offer us a place to stay. They had a beautiful shul, but I prayed for everyone to rise to power, because when everyone rises to power, it becomes competitive. And everyone's going to just try to destroy each other. So that wasn't a blessing either. And finally, the last place where we visited, we saw that the people were so nice to us. And I said, let one person rise to power, and he's going to be a good leader, and he's going to guide the people properly. So we see that sometimes we just need patience. And what seems good is really bad, and sometimes the things that are really bad are really good.